gonna let it rip.
We're gonna let it rip. This is
Episode 1, I guess, kind of.
It's like a prelude, right?
Episode 0-1, a prelude. Yes, this is the prologue. I think you need to pull that mic up closer to your closer to your mouth.
I just got locked in, dude. I can't read my notes now.
All right.
I am.
Who needs notes, man? We just let it rip. How was your Thanksgiving?
My Thanksgiving, it was good, man. I mean, had some turkey.
Did you spend it with family? Did you spend it with family?
That's a secret. I can't discuss that.
Okay. We're not talking
about
that.
But I mean, I don't want to discuss names, but I can definitely tell you about the event itself. It was great.
You know, the event itself was a good time, but you were with very secretive, a secret society of friends and family adjacent people.
I think I'm a contrarian because, like, I mean, turkey's good, but like it's so easy to overcook, and
yeah.
I'm one of those people. I'm like, hey, you know what? Have your turkey, but I want prime rib too. Like,
prime. I've never done prime rib on Thanksgiving, but that sounds up my alley.
Yeah. So you have both, right? And it's like pick them both. And heck, if the turkey turns out like crap, at least you have. I mean, how do you mess up a prime rib? I mean,
you could also overcook that, but it's a little easier. I think I think the Thanksgiving meal is great, like that one day a year. You know what I mean? Like on Thanksgiving, I'm like, give me the turkey, give me the gravy. Like you got. I mean, the way that you solve the dry turkey thing is you just load up on gravy.
Yeah.
But I'm not. My family, I'm going to out my family right here, but we redo Thanksgiving, like the Thanksgiving meal on Christmas.
Yeah.
So like Christmas night, we do like the whole Thanksgiving meal again. And I'm like, I don't need that.
No.
I just had that a month ago. That's a once a year kind of a meal. And I'm good with that. So I've been lobbying for years of like Christmas night. What if we did like a surf and turf?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Like surf and turf Christmas night. Like let's do something better than turkey. But my mom also this year, instead of doing like the full turkey, because that's her complaint, is like it's so hard to overcook, and you do what the thing says, and then it's always overdone and whatever. So she just bought like, I don't know, it was like an amputated turkey. It didn't have any. It had no. It was like just like the body of the turkey. Yeah, it was just like the breast, but it was like a big one. But it just didn't have like the legs, which was I kind of like dark meat.
Yeah, me too.
Not a euphemism. Or it is, whatever. Either way.
Once you go dark, you never go back, right? Is that what they say?
So it didn't have that, but actually it turned out it was a good moist turkey. I'm sure. Let's just turn off all of our listeners before we even start by saying the word moist in episode 0.
But I will tell you though, like, I mean, I agree with the multi-dinner after Thanksgiving, but I have to say, if you keep it light, like a sandwich, get some fresh sourdough bread or something, even some white bread, and make like a little sandwich, that's good. But I'm with you. Because you just like overeat, every Thanksgiving. And it was funny.
That's kind of the point of Thanksgiving, though.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's why. I mean, was that business in the front, party in the back kind of thing?
Yeah.
I do the same thing, but like for pictures, like I'll put on a nice shirt, but then I wore shorts, like literally stretchable athletic shorts.
You're like, yeah. So just give me a bib. Just bring out the bib. I'll go no shirt and a bib.
There's like, don't stand when we take photos. But I'm like, why wouldn't I? I'm like, I'm gonna eat more food than I would ever eat normally. I don't want to be in jeans or some tight pants.
Yeah.
Plus, we're going to be sitting at the table. Go snap all the photos you want. It's like a 2-for-1.
We didn't even really do photos this year. Yeah, we don't really. Well, I'm bad at remembering to take photos. My brother and I used to do, like, we used to literally compete over, like, who could eat the most on Thanksgiving dinner night. And then I just told my nephew this story because we don't, now we're old. We don't do that anymore. We don't literally be like, oh, I'm going back for thirds. Like, you can't hang. But we used to do that. And I was just telling my nephew that story this Thanksgiving. I was like, dude, your dad and I, we used to legit have like battles to see who could eat the most. And then at the end of the night, we'd both be like laying on the couch with massive regrets over how much we ate. So I feel like I had a sensible Thanksgiving this year. Like I indulged, but I wasn't in pain.
That's always good.
Which is the goal, right?
It is.
Well, this is a great intro. This is how I imagine the intro going. Right?
I think it's exactly how it should go.
Yeah, just like whatever. We're just talking about whatever. Yeah.
Some stories we'll keep off here for sure.
Yeah. We won't say any names, right? We'll keep names out of the equation. But yeah, so this is rooted in Idaho.
Yep.
And
episode 0.
Episode 0, which may or may not see the light of day.
We'll see. I mean, we're going to push it. I mean, whether or not people watch it, that's another story.
Yeah. Our whole 7 viewers, 3 of those will be my mom. And then, no,
yeah, we love you. You're the best, son.
Oh man, look,
you're the most successful boy ever.
Yeah. And then, but I guess, we should probably introduce ourselves, huh?
Let's do it. Yeah. Let's do this. So
who are you?
I mean, can you share your story, Kasey? Like,
I mean, I can, but I mean, broadly speaking, I guess just introductory, like, should we tell people who maybe don't know, even though this first episode's probably only going to be watched by people who know us, but in the off chance that some random person tunes in, I'm Kasey Allen. Where do I look, by the way? Is this me? I can't see the screen.
No,
and
this
also,
is a double. So that's
okay,
a
that's
both for
both
us.
of us.
That's your camera.
Me, and
that
that's
is
you.
mine.
So if I'm addressing our beautiful viewers, I should probably look at this camera, or do I look ahead at like what do you think we're going to use?
I think this is more close up on you. I can already see it in the bottom
do you think
left screen.
Do you think editing wise, the editors are going to
yes, they're going to want you on this one.
They're going to flip to me when I'm talking, and then flip to you, and then
or do a combo because they have us. It's just we're
meal.
further back, So if I'm having a bad hair day, I might just say, "Hey, look at that camera."
You
the
always
whole time.
wear hats. What are you talking about?
Me, no, all the time. This is the first episode. Honestly, I told you this morning. It was crazy. So I will definitely do my hair, and you'll see that I have hair.
He does have hair.
It looks good.
Confirm.
I just got a haircut too. I was getting ready for this, and I was like, "Look, a nice clean cut.
Where do you
professional."
Get your haircut at?
What?
Where's your haircut? You
what's his name? Right down the street here. Younger kid. Z43, I think it is. Barbershop.
What's he charge?
I don't know, $25.
Oh, that's pretty cheap.
Plus a $5 tip. You always got to tip him. So $30 for a cut.
I think you got to tip a little bit more than that if he's 25. Got to up that tip game, buddy.
Okay. I mean, he still cuts my pause. Pause.
Let's use that kind of content you only get on Rooted in Idaho.
Oh my god!
I'm gonna get myself in trouble on this
podcast.
Yeah, I can already tell.
I mean, I think you need to share your story.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm Kasey Allen. I'm born and raised in Boise, Idaho. Born at the St. Luke's, right there on Bannock Street, back in 1991. Let's just out my age right off the bat. And have lived in Boise pretty much my whole life. So up until the point, I went to college in Caldwell, College of Idaho, go Yotes. And other than 1 year that I transferred to a school in California to play golf, I've pretty much been in Idaho, in Boise, in the Boise area, the Treasure Valley, my whole life. Let's see, 8.5 years ago, my business partner Dan and I founded and started The Still. If you're unfamiliar with The Still, it's an ice cream company. We have, how many locations do we have now? We have 6 locations, 6, 7.
Okay.
6.5 because we're in the airport as well.
Because employees don't show up all the time, so I think that's why you're going back and forth there.
Yeah. So we started an ice cream company called The Still back in 2017, and have grown that to a multi-location ice cream company, all here in the Treasure Valley. We're as far as Caldwell. We're in downtown Caldwell, downtown Nampa, and then we have 4 locations in Boise. You can also find us in the Boise airport, Boise co-op locations, some Albertsons, and around the valley in different shops and restaurants and things like that. So, and then a little over a year ago, we also acquired a restaurant here in downtown Boise called the Funky Taco. That was an existing restaurant that we acquired and have kind of been running for the last year plus. And then in addition to that, we launched a breakfast brand called Oddbox Breakfast Project. So my path to hospitality, I guess, was definitely not linear. I'd never worked in food and beverage. I'd never, never even worked at a restaurant before owning one. Certainly didn't know anything about ice cream. But my business partner and I were just aspiring entrepreneurs who loved business and sort of identified a gap in the market. So originally we were actually looking into, software was kind of where we thought we'd be. I worked for Hewlett Packard. He was a freelance web developer. So we kind of had this idea for a software product in the golf space. Some days I think we should have just gone that route when,
there's still time.
Yeah, there's still time. Maybe we still will. But we kind of pivoted to this idea of creating Boise's ice cream brand, right? My business partner is from the Midwest, grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, went to school in Cincinnati, got his MBA at Ohio State. His wife's from Louisville. And so when they eventually made their way to Boise in 2015, they were like, hey, where's the local ice cream spot? Every town we've ever lived in has had that's the local ice cream place. And when they came to Boise, they were like, hey, there's I don't know. Are we allowed to say Ben and Jerry's? I think we can, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what copyright laws are.
Any
but
publicity is good publicity. So.
There's Ben and Jerry's. There's Cold Stone. Like there was like the national chains, but there wasn't a kind of homegrown Boise made ice cream place. And so we looked at each other and said, how hard can it be? Seems like there's a gap in the market there. And like I tell a lot of people, like I think in general, a lot of wannabe entrepreneurs, or a lot of business owners, they start more with something that they love and are passionate about, and then they want to figure out how they can turn it into a business. And we kind of came at it from the other angle, where we loved business, and then we found a gap in the market to kind of fill a void. And we had good complementary skills in terms of, he comes from a finance background, and I come from more of a marketing and branding background. And so we put our brains together and created the STILL, which is an acronym for the sweetest things in life. And, it's been a great business. We've been fortunate to grow and expand and have a great reputation in the area. Stumbled into making a really awesome product, which always helps.
When you put alcohol and stuff, how do you go wrong?
It's true. So yeah, that's the high level. I mean, obviously there's a lot more to that story and how, I found entrepreneurship and what I love about business and things like that. But at a high level, I guess that's sort of my background and story.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. I have to ask one question though before I get into mine.
Rip it.
What challenge have you faced running a business here, and how have you overcome them? Like, what's the biggest challenge you've seen so far?
Well, what are you talking about? There's no running a business is always easy. It's just cakewalk. There's never any challenges ever. It's all easy. Biggest challenge. I mean, it's hard to identify just one. I mean, I think there's like, it depends on what sort of route you want to take. This one thing I'm already learning is I'm going to need to figure out where to have my eyes, because I'm like looking around.
Yeah, no, I think here's a thing to remember too. Like, if you're talking, it's okay to directly talk to them and then talk with me.
Yeah,
because we can go back and forth, and they can pull all the different things.
Biggest challenge. I mean, this is more of an internal challenge, but we'll get maybe semi-vulnerable here. This isn't like my biggest challenge is X, Y, Z, but I think just like the psychology and like lifestyle of entrepreneurship, right? Like I think when you're creating your own thing, when you're starting something, and when you build that up over the course of years, it's a really up and down journey.
Yeah.
And just being able to sort of enjoy the ride or like just ride the waves of what entrepreneurship is, I think has been like one of, not necessarily the biggest like it's not always a challenge, but it can be a challenge because, I have some entrepreneurial friends, but like most people in my life work more traditional jobs, right? Yeah. And have traditional schedules and things like that, and traditional income sources and things like that. And like when you're an entrepreneur, there are times that are very lean, and there are times that are better, and there's the growth challenges, and you have like a lot of sacrifices that you have to make, and there's also a lot of risks that you have to take, and you kind of have to figure out a way to compartmentalize a lot of that and stay focused on like what you're trying to do. And you don't have, I don't have an office. I haven't had an office in over 8 years. I don't have a place, I don't have anybody who's like, hey, you got to be here from 8 to 5 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it's all self-directed, and there's a never-ending and always growing to-do list, and no one really holding you accountable but yourself.
Yeah.
And so I think it's kind of just like the challenge of I haven't had a job in 9 years. A job. Like I just
in the traditional sense.
In the traditional sense, exactly. And so I think just riding the waves of those ups and downs, figuring things out is just like constant problem solving. Yep. And there's really no, like, you have to hold yourself sort of accountable to maintaining working hours and good working habits and things like that if you want to continue to move the thing forward. And you don't have a lot of people around you typically that have like relatability to what you're doing. So I think that's like been one of the bigger challenges is like, obviously I do have a network of friends who are like in the space and doing the same kind of things. But at the end of the day, like entrepreneurship can be sort of a lonely journey and like you don't have a lot of like relatable, you know, your friends and family, again, that aren't doing entrepreneurial things. This isn't to say that entrepreneurship is better than any of those things. Like I think honestly, for most people, having a more traditional job is probably a better track because it can be like kind of a lonely, tough journey to navigate.
Yeah.
But I think just staying the course and like in those times that are like a little bit tougher, like just knowing the long game that you're playing because you're doing something different than like all your friends who maybe they have like, you know, maybe they're getting stock from certain companies or like their compensation structure is so much different than how your compensation works.
Yeah.
Right. And like, there's these ups and downs as you go. And like, especially for us where we've been pretty aggressive on our growth trajectory, there's like sacrifices that come with that, right? Of like, you're reinvesting you know, hey, I'm here with a realtor and I don't own a home, right? Like, because my company, like we've continually like reinvested everything that we've made to be able to continue to grow and push and push. And for like that long-term vision, but then, you know, there's some of those like personal sacrifices that come along with it. So that'd be like a challenge, I guess, or just, you know, something that's kind of an interesting element, unspoken element about like the path that I've ultimately chosen for my career.
Yeah. Yeah. I get you. Well, we know what realtor you're going to use when you do buy that house, right?
Jaden Berry Hill, baby.
I love it.
I had to get that little.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like they say in the Valley, I mean, if you don't know a realtor, you don't have friends, right? So I get it. But, you know, and maybe this podcast will blow up after that, you know, or I'll just let it go. And I think that's okay, right? You got to have that mindset, right? There's always more deals out there.
Always deals to be made.
No, I get it.
But that's enough about me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
For right now.
I have like 15 questions.
Oh, okay. Keep ripping questions.
You know what? No.
Do you want to do this? Do you want to do this where like this one it's all about me, and then the next one we come in and we talk about you, or do you want
we
to
talk about you for 30, talk about me for 30.
Okay. Do we have this place till 10? What?
I don't know. I think we just like recording here until she knocks on the door and says,
okay,
"Hey, you need to get out of here."
Hey, you guys got to go.
What are you talking about? Actually, this is our studio. We built this whole thing just for you guys as the viewers.
This is in Spencer's 17th home.
Yes.
And
we don't have a number. Just like we don't use names, we don't talk about numbers of what homes we have or may or may not own.
Spencer's just going to donate a home to me. That's how I'm going to find my way into home ownership. Okay, yeah, keep asking questions if you want.
I definitely.
I love to talk about me.
I can see that. Yeah, this has been great. I couldn't even interject. Like I was like, "When's the next question coming?" But anyways. So I think, you know, for me, dealer's choice here, right? I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, go wherever
This is
you
our
want.
show, right?
This is our show.
I can do that.
It's our party. We can cry if we want to.
You know, I think this is apropos, really.
Ooh.
Yeah, I do read the
Vocab
dictionary.
word, folks.
Yes, I'm not just a realtor, people. So,
jeez,
there's layers to me. I'm like an onion. So, what's your favorite part about being a part of the Idaho community, and specifically the business community?
Yeah, I think my favorite part about the Idaho is the fact that it is a community. Honestly, I think, you know, you go to like Idaho's in this like fun, or Boise specifically is in this like such a growth phase, right? Like there's been so much growth over the last 5 years, maybe more in terms of like what the Valley looks like and how it's been shaped, but it still has like a really strong community feel. And I think that is like its superpower. Like this community is one where you're like a couple degrees of separation from everybody else, right?
Yeah.
And reputation still really matters. Like people know who treats people right, who's like, you know, doing good things in the community, who are good people to work for or work with and do business with. And that like reputation word travels, and it is a very, you know, it can be very collaborative if you want it to be, but it's also just like, it's very supportive community in terms of like the community of business owners. I have like something in my teeth.
Oh, wow.
Cut this out, Redditors. What is going on? Yeah, I just found something in my tooth.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, let's cut that one out. Let's
no,
restart.
leave it in. Fuck it. We do it live. It's my Bill O'Reilly impersonation.
Bill O'Reilly.
But yeah, I mean, I think, you know, it is a very community-driven area, right? And like you know people who know people, and I think there's something that, you know, big city, there's like a certain level of like anonymity that can happen in a big city, right? Where you don't have that sense of community, right? Like when there's so many people and so many businesses, I think people can take advantage of the anonymity to maybe act in ways that aren't good, right? That aren't beneficial to the community around them. And there's something about that, like, you know, who's gonna, like, there's no accountability from like your fellow community members. And I think in Boise specifically, there is that built-in accountability for all of us to, like, we live, work, play, and know our neighbors in our community here. And like, you know, people show up for one another, but they also, if you're not doing business in the right way, like eventually that's going to get sort of uncovered. And I think that sort of like self-corrective element of that creates a better business community for residents and for like the business community members themselves.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good explanation. Now, I was listening the whole time, just so you know. But this thing popped in my head while we were talking. And
why am I so devilishly good looking? Is that what popped in your head?
That's what I was going to say. Don't look into the camera too much that way. I mean, let's keep the distance away. I don't want them to lock in with your eyes, okay? Please. If your business had a mascot, what would it be?
Is it like an animal or
this is you say whatever you want. I don't know. This is
my business had a mascot. Well, it's an acronym for the sweetest things in life. Okay. And so if we had a mascot, I mean, an ice cream cone is like maybe 2 on the nose. Like, is that too like a, you know, like how Stanford has the tree?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just thinking like a big, like an ice cream cone. Maybe his name would be Licky.
Oh, and Licky?
Licky the ice cream cone.
Okay.
Yeah. No, you don't. You hate it. He hates it.
I'm getting the visual of a double scoop ice cream cone with eyes and like arms and legs, right? Is that,
yeah.
Paint me the picture.
In a waffle cone suit.
Waffle cone.
And then like ice cream cone around the head, and then like another one on top in a big waffle cone.
Yeah.
You'd be like, hey, everybody, I'm Licky.
I was going to say, could you sketch that for me? I'm Licky. I don't like that. Nope. The name, let's not keep calling it that.
Then little kids can come up and he'd be like, lick me. And
oh my
Cut that
God.
one too. Cut that one too. Lest I get canceled on the first episode 0.
We haven't even got started.
No, that's hilarious though.
I know it is interesting, right? Trying to figure out what the
mascot would be
to do that. I mean, because you got the next step is commercials for you, right?
I don't know. I should be on commercials, sure.
Hey, you said that that's a really good working community.
Ask your doctor if the still is right for you.
It is. It's organic, right?
Define organic.
I don't know anymore. Ask the feds.
Ask the feds. A mascot. Yeah. I'm going to go with the ice cream. Yeah. Let's just keep it simple with an ice cream cone.
Okay.
Yeah.
An ice cream cone. Okay. No, I love that. Well, I know I kind of veered off here. I swear
okay.
I don't have
wherever
ADD.
you'd like to veer.
This is our show, right?
Veer Wine Project. Go check them out. They're a great winery.
Nice plug. Look at that.
Will, you owe me $100 for that.
Let's see. What's been your proudest moment so far as a business owner?
Long pause.
He's thinking.
I'm trying to be thoughtful here.
First thing that came to your mind.
Longest pause.
First thing that came to mind.
You know, honestly, the first thing that came to my mind, I didn't know if I wanted to run with this, but if you want the first thing that came to my mind, it would probably be just like how we handled COVID, right? Like, I mean, not to bring up the big C, but that was a weird time, especially for our industry, where like we rely on humans coming in person to a place to make a purchase, and that was a very obviously uncertain time in terms of like what's going to happen, how are we going to keep the doors open, how are we going to make money, and obviously eventually the government kind of stepped in to help small businesses in a lot of ways that certainly did help, but those initial months where there was uncertainty around what that was going to look like and how we were going to navigate it, I think we just stayed super positive. I think that was like a big lesson in leadership for me too, because It's like I have all these employees who, you know, don't know how to react, or like they're looking to you of like, hey, should we be worried or should we not be worried? And it's like, at the end of the day, I didn't really know if they should be worried or not worried. Is like, I'm gonna try really hard to make sure everyone stays employed. And luckily for us, we were able to keep everyone employed, and like kind of how we pivoted and everything like that. Like I was super proud of our team and like how we did it. Yeah. But it was also like, they're looking to you. And if you're going to show up and be like panicked and like, I don't know how we're going to do this and, you know, whatever, then like that's going to translate to them. But if you show up and you just kind of have this attitude of like, hey, we're going to make the best of this, and we're going to do everything we can and see, you know, see what kind of rabbits we can pull out of our hats, then they sort of rise to that same level of like, they match your energy. Yeah. So I think just that, you know, just like that was a real big moment of uncertainty. Like we had just broken ground on our production facility. Like we were building this new production facility. We were like, you know, $80,000 in cash into it, just closing in on like the bank financing for it. COVID hits. The bank's like, hey, we're not, you know, they pull out of everything. They're like, we're not funding anything that could be directly or indirectly impacted by, like they basically just paused fund, you know. So we have this production facility that we just broke ground on that we really need for the capacity that we're building up to. Yeah. And we've just invested a bunch of cash into it, and it gets put on pause, and we don't have a funding source. You know, all of a sudden people aren't allowed to be coming and, you know, dining in at your restaurant. Like, how do we serve people? How do we still make money? How do we keep people employed? How do we do all this stuff? And I think we just kept a really like lighthearted, you know, we worked really hard, but we stayed really lighthearted, and we're just like, you know what? We're just going to figure it out as best we can, and control what we can control, right? Like a very like kind of stoic attitude of like, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be out of our control. All we can do is respond and, you know, control what's within our control.
That's a good point. You just got to keep pushing forward sometimes. That's 100%. What people don't realize, you know. It's not a 9-to-5 job, and you know you're gonna have your good days and bad days, but it's how you come through those, I think, that makes you a better person. I know it sounds cliche, but it's
I mean, like cliches exist for a reason, right? Because there's wisdom or truth found within them, and so it is cliche, but it is true. Of just like, you just got to show up and do what you can that day, right? And shit's gonna happen, right? But ultimately, it's like, how do you navigate it, and what kind of attitude, energy, and effort do you bring to the table? And then the chips fall where they may, and then the next day you just respond to that, right? And that's kind of all you can do.
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree. So let's see, you got what, 6, 7 locations, right? 6 or 7, 6.5? Is that?
Everybody hates us right now.
No. So you got this. Yeah. What was that?
Yes.
Yeah. So like going ahead, like, I mean, what's next for you personally and professionally? What does that look like?
Well, I'm starting a podcast with this realtor. So I'm interested to see how that goes. Yeah. I think we have some good synergy on the mics. So maybe it'll turn into something. Yeah, professionally, you know, we're going to continue to grow the still. It's a fun business. I think, you know, objectively, you know, I'm actually, secret time, don't tell anybody this, I'm not a huge like sweets guy myself, like, which is ironic that I own an ice cream company. But I mean, I do think so. I feel like I can be a little more objective. Like, don't get me wrong, I like desserts, but I'm not a huge like, oh my gosh, I've always loved, you know, desserts and whatever. So I think I can be pretty objective when I like look at our product, and like I love business, I love entrepreneurship, I love building teams and marketing and branding and like, you know, leadership and things like that. So I think I can look at our product pretty objectively, and I believe very strongly that we make an excellent product. Like, I think our ice cream is really, really, really good. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for us to continue to grow. Obviously, we're going to tap out in the valley at some point, so we are looking at, you know, other markets to potentially grow into. I think the tricky thing with that is like, how do you not be labeled like a chain? Because chains are like uncool. Yeah. Right? But like, Dan and I still own the company, and like we don't want to franchise. We're not going to franchise. I shouldn't say we're, you know, never say never, but our plan is not to franchise. But we'd like to grow and explore other markets. So we're looking outside the state of Idaho. is there another Boise-like community that we could bring this concept to and kind of expand into? I think just as an entrepreneur, that's sort of, obviously somewhat of the goal, right? As you start a company and you want to grow it. And I think, not that there's anything wrong with having like one store. And I think there's a lot of operators who they open a coffee shop or a ice cream shop or a brewery or whatever. And like they kind of a restaurant and like they're in the store working it, and that's like how they're making their living and they're going to stay kind of in that one location. We've always viewed the like, hey, we're trying to build a company, not like have one ice cream shop. So,
you don't want to work in the business. You want to work on the business.
You want to be working on the business and like, there's just part of that is growing it. And kind of that's the personal challenge as well, is like, are you up to the task of being able to grow a company and a business? Hey, can we get to, can we make this a $10 million company? Can we make this a 30 million? Like what, how big can we get this organization? And like part of that is the personal growth that comes along with that, of like, you have to be capable of taking something from an idea to executing on it for one location and then executing on it for 2 locations and 3 locations. And like each of those iterations and steps kind of requires a different version of you as a leader, as a manager, as a CEO or whatever. I don't have a title. I don't know what I am, but, so I think that's the personal and the professional side is like continuing to try to grow this. I love entrepreneurship and business and ideation and the creative elements of that. So I don't envision that, this will be the only thing that I ever do. Obviously we're starting this podcast, but I love just starting companies, starting ideas. So hopefully there'll be some other things that grab me. I always find it interesting. I don't know if you're this way, but, sometimes things just like grab hold of you, where you're like, all of a sudden you just like get really interested in something, or you get an idea it's like an idea like just grabs a hold of you and you can't let it go.
It's just rooted.
It's rooted in you. Look at that brand placement. I saw this really cool quote this morning, actually. I am rooted, but I flow. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Ooh, I better write that down.
Yeah. I think it was a Virginia Wolf. Yeah. I am rooted, but I flow. I was like, that's kind of cool. It's like, yeah, you're grounded in like who you are, but like, you're also like, you're not so stuck in that, right? That you can't be malleable to demands of whatever situation you find yourself in. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a big, maybe to my detriment sometimes, but like, I'm not a big, I'm not a big like smart goals guy. I'm not a big like, this is my 5-year plan. Like I tend to sort of be, I think sometimes if you have too narrow of a focus, it's kind of like these blinders that you put on and you don't have that peripheral vision to see what's around you and the opportunities that arise. So even with the still, like we've never had like this super specific, we want to have 20 locations in these different places. We have ideas and we'll explore those ideas and hold on to the ideas loosely, right? It's like strong values loosely held, strong ideas loosely held. I think that's a Mark Andreessen quote, where it's like, don't be so committed to like your 5-year vision or your 10-year vision that you can't be adaptable to opportunities that come your way along the way. So, so I think that's kind of how I try to have like, a sandbox that I'm playing within, guidelines that I'm playing within. This is the general direction I'm headed, but I'm not so laser focused on like one outcome that I'm not open to the possibilities that come along the way.
And that's sometimes when the best synergy can happen. I mean, a lot of people say, hey, start with the end in mind, right? Which to a degree makes sense. But to me, sometimes that's not real life. It's good to have goals, long-term, short-term, but things happen when you least expect it, especially when you're on your mission.
Yeah.
And sometimes have to test those things out. And sometimes, again, those are the greatest decisions you end up making.
Yeah. Yeah. I think just having like directionality is important, right?
Yeah.
Like this is the general direction I want to head, but I'm open to what arises.
True.
Yeah.
So, I mean, on that note, what's some of the funny stuff as it flowed through you've had happen when you've been in your business, with employees, customers? You got to give me something.
I need to we should have been we should have like a historian writing things down because I forget so many things.
This is kind of like high school, right?
One that first popped into my head is we had these kids do an upper decker on our in our toilet at our downtown original location, but not, an upper decker traditionally, for those that don't know, is inside the back of the toilet bowl, right?
Oh
like you lift the lid and it goes in there. These kids just did it on top of the lid. Like,
they didn't even open the lid?
They didn't even open the lid. They just right on top. And so that was, an experience.
Actually better than going in the bowl.
Yeah, we had a customer basically come up to our staff and like, hey, just so you know, you might want to close off that bathroom. Like, there's a situation going on. But the funny thing is at the time, my business partner's daughter I think she was in junior high at the time, maybe like a sophomore in high school. But I think she was in junior high. And these were like, we have cameras in our stores, right? And so within like 30 minutes, my business partner had these boys ID'd, because we saw them walk in with like their just giggling and whatever, and they don't bind. They just go straight into the bathroom. So we're like, oh, so he had distributed this video to like his daughter's friends and whatever. Like, does anybody know who these boys are? And we had all these kids ID'd in like 30 minutes, like their phone numbers for their parents, whatever. So these kids did not get away with it, but that was pretty funny. What's another good funny story? We've had cars crash into 2 of our stores.
Which ones?
The Latah store, our production facility, when it was under construction, we had a drunk driver at like 3 a.m. crash
went
into
straight
the store.
to the fence in the gravel?
Yeah, the whole thing crashed into it. And then we had a guy at our Nampa location, kind of older gentleman and his wife. He pulled into a parking space, and I think he hit the gas instead of the brake and just popped the curb and drove right into like the glass storefront on like a Sunday morning. So these are the fun things that you can look forward to. Gosh, what else has happened? There's been so many things that have happened that I just can't even like recall. Like I said, I should have had a historian at this point, but I mean, that's the thing, right? Is it's just constant responding to problems and unexpected things. And if there's one thing this business teaches you, it's like how to think on your feet and just problem solve in the moment, on the fly.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just, let's do this. Let's try this. We'll have to come back to that. I'll have to think of some better funny stories.
Well, no,
it's always an adventure when you're employing predominantly 19 to 24-year-olds.
Definitely true. Well, speaking of adventures, if you had someone, like an entrepreneur that was moving here to Idaho that wanted to start a business, what advice would you have for them? What would you tell
them? If they don't already have the business idea that they want, I mean, one of the benefits of Boise in its current phase, its current stage, I'll say the Treasure Valley, I will say Idaho. I always think very Boise, but we don't have the population base of an LA. We don't have the population base of like some of these larger cities. But we also don't have a lot of the cool businesses and amenities that they have also. So I think if you're interested in opening a business here and you're not sure what that business might be, one thing to do is to go to a bigger city and find a place that you love or that's like crushing it, that doesn't exist yet in Boise, and bring that concept here, right? There's so many really cool thing. Like Boise's always been probably like 10 years behind, the bigger cities that are in our area, the Seattles, the Denvers, the Portlands, the LAs, the, whatever. And so some of the places that are really doing well there, or that you are like, man, I came from this place and they had this, restaurant, or they had this service business or whatever that I loved. There's a good chance it might not exist here yet. And so that's kind of an easy way that you can bring something new that will get some excitement from the folks. One thing I would say cautionary about that though is keep in mind kind of what the size of the market is, right? Like, I don't think, my personal belief is like Boise, the Treasure Valley, the greater Treasure Valley area doesn't have enough population for, I always use this example of like, I was in Manhattan Beach and I saw there's like a restaurant that was like dumplings. Like that's all they did was dumplings.
Yeah.
And like when you have millions of people and you only need, you're going to get 4% of the population base. Well, 4% of 10 million is enough people to sustain that business. But if you're in Boise and the population base is whatever,
less than 1 million.
Yeah, less than 1 million in the Treasure Valley. If you only get 4% of that, that might not be enough to sustain that like super niche idea. And I think that is why you still see, for the most part in Boise, most of our restaurants do kind of cast a broader net, right? Because you have to appeal to, kind of a broader audience.
Yeah,
you can't be quite as like narrowly focused and niched down. So that's like my one caution is like maybe don't do something that is catering to such a small audience that you don't have enough of an audience to actually be successful.
Yeah. It's an interesting time here, right? Just
super interesting.
I mean, yeah, home prices have went up and costs have gone up, not just here, but across the nation. And it's just interesting as we grow, because as a metro city, I think we have tons of opportunity.
Yeah. And it's interesting to see, I don't know if you have the same perspective in real estate, but it's interesting to see like how who's coming here and like how it's shaping the city. Because I think this has been, we're sort of one of those places that are like, that's a great place to raise a family. Right.
I think that's one of the biggest reasons people call me a lot.
That's one of the biggest reasons people come here is it's a great place to raise a family. But if you want to be an entrepreneur here, you have to think through how does that shape the demographics of the town and how like people's consumer behaviors, right? Like one thing I've seen over the last 10 years is Boise's not a late night town. It's a morning town more so than anything. Like sure there's like the bar scene in downtown Boise and things like that, but like it's kind of an early town. Like people are it's very driven. The consumer behaviors are very patterned along like the school schedule, right? Because it's a lot of families. It's a lot of it's a lot of families with like young children, and they're sort of, Sunday nights, well, we got school tomorrow, right? And so sure, there's a lot of young adults who don't have kids or don't have families, but like in general, I think the demographics are shaping up to be more catered towards like those people who moved here to settle down, raise a family. They like the quietness of it. They like the sort of
small town feel with large city amenities.
With amenities, 100%. With amenities, but they like the privacy. They like the slowness of, this is a casual town. That's the other thing that I always say is like, you walk around downtown, like you don't see a lot of suits, right? No one's wearing suits.
I mean, look what I'm wearing.
Yeah, look what I'm wearing.
I look like I should be putting fence posts in, out Caldwell right now.
Yeah. And so I think just if you're going to come here and be an entrepreneur and be in business, I think it's also important to see like what the consumer behavior element is of the demographics who are moving here. Why are people moving here and what are they looking for? And how do you kind of slide into that? I mean, we're how many coffee shops do we have? You know what I mean? And
just
they're
keep
all
opening
crushing.
Up. Yeah.
They seemingly are all crushing. And I think that just kind of speaks to like the sort of, it's more of a daytime crowd than a nighttime crowd in general.
Yeah.
Not to say there's not plenty of cocktail bars that are doing well. But that's kind of been something that's interesting for me to see is, I live over in Southeast Boise, and it's pretty quiet on, in the evenings, right?
Oh, that's what I tell people every time they want to be in the Southeast. I'm like, hey, this is like, you're not in the middle of Meridian. You're not in the hustle and bustle. It's the furthest east for the foothills. I mean, but what's amazing about it is that you can get to town quick, but it's so laid back. And that's why when we see home prices even there, people are like, why is it so expensive there? I'm like, well, you got the best access to the river, the Greenbelt, the foothills for hiking. You have quick access to the airport downtown, but it doesn't have that feel of cars driving everywhere and traffic. It's just quiet.
Yeah. And some people love that. And then some people more like the hustle, like the bustle of like a North End, right? Where like you're going to see a lot more cars. You're going to, cars are going to be lining the street. You're going to see your neighbors out and about. You're going to be doing this different stuff. They're different vibes, right?
Yep. Yeah. It's always interesting, trying to get people, understand what their needs are. Right.
Yeah.
Till they get out here and actually see this area for themselves.
Right. Because if can dive into real estate side, but like people want to move to this area. They're going to have a completely different experience if they live in Middleton versus if they live in Nampa versus if they live in, Southeast Boise versus if they live in like the East End. And I think, you would know better than I would, but I would imagine a lot of people think like, oh, I'm moving to Boise, it's all going to be like the same experience. And it's like, well, it's
Yeah.
so different, you know?
Yeah.
Like if you're in Star versus if you're in CUNA.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, I'm a full service real estate company, but you know, people all the time are just like, hey guys, but people always ask me, like, it's funny, and they find, you know, relocation's a large part of my business, and people always ask, you know, yeah, I'm excited to come out, like, in their perception, right? It's all about perception where you're coming from. And it's funny, I always tell people, hey, when you get here, I'm going to tell you the llama story. And they're like, they kind of laugh and they're like, what is that? I'm like, well, it doesn't matter how many videos that you watch or what information you get, you have to see it with your own eyes, right? And the llama story, quick little thing. I had this couple from Washington. They came out like, hey, Spencer, we're 2 years out. You know, we don't want to be in the city. We don't want any hustle and bustle. We got like 6 llamas, alpacas. We need space. We need like at least an acre. I'm like, okay, great. Come on out and do a scouting trip is what we do. And, you know, we set up a tour for them they have self-guided driving tours, restaurant recommendations. Of course, they go to the Still. Absolutely. That's where the top place there in Funky Taco. But no, I just tell them to come on out. And they had this perception in their mind of everything. And, you know, I met with them when they first got here, gave them all the information, let them go just explore, right? Guided, not like left alone to just go mindlessly go, but it's strategic for a reason. And they call me like a day later and they're like, hey, Spencer, we're moving to Boise. We're selling the house. I'm like, what? You said you're 2 years out. They're like, yeah, but we found a house in Meridian on a 1/4 acre. We're selling the alpacas and we're moving here. And I'm like, you told me a day ago that you need an acre. You didn't want to be in the city, yet you're going to be in Meridian, the most suburbia place that we have here.
Yes. And
you're selling your alpacas and llamas that you absolutely love. So it's always interesting when people want to go like look at houses right away, or they just want to go see things. I'm like, guys, you need to get here first strategically and see this area for what it is. It's a beautiful area. It's amazing. Has so much to offer, which we could get into. But yeah, that's
there's also so much variety to your point of like Meridian is suburbia, right?
Yep.
You get downtown Boise, like you want to get a condo in downtown Boise or something, or be like in the north end where you're walking distance to downtown. Those are completely different experiences.
True.
And yeah, that's interesting.
It is. It is a interesting thing I deal with daily.
Yeah. So. See, and like I'm, you know, not to dissuade anyone, like I'm not a Meridian guy. You know what I mean? I'm born and raised in Boise, and I've had friends who move here from somewhere else, and you know they start out living in Boise proper, and then they're like, oh, we're gonna buy a house and we're gonna move to Meridian. I'm like, well, it was nice knowing you. Yeah. Like I'm just never gonna see you again, right? Because Meridian is such suburbia, and like it kind of has everything you need out there. But it's a different experience than living in Boise, and like, you know, not to say what I like is what everybody else should like, obviously. But yeah, it's just funny. I'm such a, okay. We're getting the signal that our time is up.
It is. Okay. We will get out of here.
The timer.
Man.
But hey, I took up all the talking in that one. So next time,
you know what? Next
time we'll talk about Spencer and real estate and, get his story of how he.
I know. I didn't realize we've been talking for almost an hour.
Wow, that's crazy.
And we didn't even get to me. So
God, I'm such a chatterbox.
It's okay. You know, I try to keep him on track when I can, but you know, this is episode 0.
We should put like one of those like dog collars on me that has like the 3 levels of like, it just kind of beeps and like warns you, and then it kind of gives you like a slight little buzz, and then it like really and then you can just like hit that and be like, hey man, too much.
Yeah, let's keep it natural though. You know, don't move too much.
Yeah, I'll just try to.
Then people just know.
Start with the beep, and then if I don't hear it, then you can zap me once.
I love it. Well, good. Well, hey, this is a good episode 0.
Episode 0, we crushed it. Yeah. All right. Okay. Hey, have a good week, Spencer.
Hey, you know what? You too, man. I'm gonna get some ice cream later.
All right. I'm going to buy a house later.
Something. Okay. I got to go.
Okay. Bye.